Just one moment, folks. I myself, I'm getting set up just to make sure that everything is working and everything is going according to plan. I know. See. God, when did technology become so frustrating? Okay, there we go. And there's that. This is Dr. C2000 recording at 6:48 p.m. 4-12-2020. I wish to say this. Not only Americans, but something is happening right now. And what is happening is a virus that is going around and infecting not only just this country, but the entire world. As of April 2020, this has affected lives in ways that are possibly that no one could ever have foreseen. Some have lost their jobs, have lost some have lost their way of life. A lot of people have been affected negatively by this, and I'm sorry to say that in the coming months, this may or may not get better. I will give you at least words of hope and encouragement that this will come to pass. But only if we as a combined society, a combined group of people, listen to what is going on. I have seen time and time again the stupidity of people doing things that would make some of us laugh or be disgusted with. We need to put aside our differences. We need to put aside our selfish reasoning and our selfish thinking. if we are going to fight and if we are going to end this, then we must come together as a group. And I am talking about everyone. Americans, Britons, Europeans, Indians, the Chinese, the Koreans, the North, the South, the Russians, the Germans. Just to name a few, everyone needs to come together. This is bigger than any fraudulent politics or any political debate. This is something that has gripped our world and our lives. Something needs to be done. And with my full, honest, and open heart is this: stay home unless absolutely necessary. Do not go out. Do not go out unless it is for essentials, such as food, water, cleaning supplies, things for laundry use, toiletries. Do not go out for things that are not essential. Playhouses, furniture, lawn furniture, things that are not essential. I am not parading myself, and I am not resembling myself to a first responder or to those who put their lives in danger. I have only worked in retail, or at least the one cog of retail, for almost a year. I do not wish to claim myself as an expert, as the end-all be-all for this. But what I do wish to say is that the things I have seen are not only despicable, but the way people act when something like this happens is downright horrifying. I see people come out with things that are not essential, like one bag of Doritos, one potted plant, lawn furniture, gazebos, things that are not essential. I see people coming in coughing with no mask, no protection, putting my and my coworkers' lives in danger. I do not wish for anyone to be afraid to venture outside, to stay home and isolate for years to come. But I will say this: you have to stay home. Too many people are losing not only their jobs, their lives, and their families and careers over this virus, but we're losing our humanity too. We need to come together. We need to fight this as a community, as a nation, and as a species. We have to fight. Otherwise, we will lose more than just our economy, more than just our lavish lifestyles. We will lose what makes us, us. And I'm sorry to say that if we don't change, we're not looking at a bright future. Instead, we are looking at a grim future. It's times like this where I could believe in people, where I could believe that people had decency and goodwill. I just hope that people have enough common sense and decency in them to make things right. But again, we need to try and fight this together. So I'm urging everyone who listens, everyone who is watching this, whether it be on YouTube or Instagram Live, stay home. Do not venture outside unless it is for essentials. Do not go shopping unless it is in dire need. We need to fight this. I hope those who are watching understand the significance and importance of this. I hope that when this is all over, we come out victorious. I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everyone knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everyone's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's no one anywhere who seems to know what to do. And there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. And we sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad, they're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy. So we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we are living in is getting smaller and smaller. And all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living rooms. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the street. All I know is that first you've got to get mad. You've got to say I'm a human being, God damn it, my life has value. I want you to get up right now. I want you all to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window. Open it, stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. That is what we need. I want you to tell them. I want you to get up, sit up, go to your windows, stick your head out and yell, I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. Things have got to change, but first you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore. Then we'll figure out what to do about the depression and the inflation and the oil crisis. But first you've got to get up out of your chairs, open the window, stick your head out and yell and say it. I'm as mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. That is what we need to do to overcome this. We need to fight. We need to fight for our freedom, for our lives, for the decency of all mankind. Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world? Diversity and opportunity. Lewis. Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way. Will. The New York Jets. No, I'm going to hold you to an answer on that. What makes America the greatest country in the world? Well, Lewis and Sharon said it, diversity and opportunity, and freedom and freedom. I am not letting you go back to the airport without answering the question. Well, our Constitution is a masterpiece. James Madison was a genius. The Declaration of Independence is, for me, the single greatest piece of American writing. You don't look satisfied. One's a set of laws and the other's a declaration of war. I want a human moment from you. What about the people? Why is America... It's not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer. You're saying, yes. Let's talk... Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of our paychecks, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime. It costs column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always? And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Austria, Belgium has freedom. 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom. And you, sorority girl, yeah, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there are some things you should know, and one of them is that there is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 7th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in the median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are without a doubt a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes America, when you ask us what makes America the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed and struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were. And we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars and we acted like men. We aspired to intelligence and we didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. And we were all able to be these things and do these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. The first step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. And to say it, America is not the greatest country in the world anymore. Enough? Let's see. Shower thoughts, relationship advice. Let's see. I'm going to do a creepypasta and then So, this is actually from a YouTube video based on the Simpsons. There's like a Your Next Simpsons pasta animation, or not pasta, a Simpsons it's like a Play-Doh version of the Simpsons featuring and it's like in the theme of Your Next. So, all right, let's begin. We open the Simpsons living room, the family sitting in front of the TV. We pan across the couch to Marge and Homer focusing on their legs. Marge moves her right hand onto Homer's leg. We pan up to see Homer. We see his face motion Homer to Marge. She smiles. He returns his face to the television. The camera moves to an outside location, a window right outside the living room. All of the family are in view. A figure approaches the window. It's Kearney in a plastic sheep mask. We focus on Bart. He hears a noise, rises from the couch, and walks over to the window. Squints his eyes and a look of puzzlement takes over his face. But before he alerts his family, crash! Something whizzing by the window. We jump to see Lisa, who sees a shattered glass in the broken window. Homer turns to his left. A look of shock and horror washes over his face, causing the whole family to see what had happened. We turn to Bart and arrow straight through his skull. He falls and crashes into the side table, causing blood to spatter everywhere. Jimbo comes through the kitchen with a plastic bunny mask, wielding a sword, and Kearney swinging an axe, breaking the window, hopping into the living room. Marge scoots to her left to shield Maggie, and Lisa jumps off the couch to cover behind the arm. Shuddering with fear, Dolph comes through the kitchen with a pump-action shotgun and a wolf mask covering his face. Homer eyes the phone and goes to pick it up, but thwack! Jimbo's sword cuts it into two, blood sprinkling the phone. Homer draws back his arm and holds it up in pain as we see Dolph aim his shotgun towards Homer. Pain and anguish is seen in his eyes as he looks towards Marge and says goodbye, while the cold metal barrel is slammed against his head. Bang! Blood gushes from the remaining half of Homer's head. Blood, brain matter, and teeth cover the couch in a horrifying display. Marge is pulled off the couch and beaten to the floor by Kearney. Lisa is grabbed by Dolph and restrained to the floor, her head pulled up as she sees Kearney scalping her mother, removing her towering blue hair. Blood pooling down her face. Jimbo walks slowly over to Maggie, sitting on the couch. He raises his sword and violently begins hacking Maggie to bits. Blood spraying all over the couch and walls. Marge looking on with horror and grief as she sees that Kearney is distracted by the gore. She grabs the axe in mid-swing and slams it into his head. Kearney in a daze sits up, but to his surprise, Marge has retrieved the shotgun and blasts him. Jimbo sees the commotion and slams his sword into her left shoulder as she leans the gun towards his face and pulls the trigger. Nothing remains of Jimbo's face but a bloody hole. Both he and Marge crash down to the floor dead. Lisa slowly gets up and looks around at the mess of blood and body parts. She looks out the window, but a blinding flash of light is seen and Lisa drops to the floor. We see Chief Wiggum, gun drawn and a shot fired. A look of sheer horror consumes his face. The whole family is dead. That was Simpsons Your Next Creepypasta. I awoke this morning with a dull ache in my head. I took 2 Excedrin and went about my day. It's probably due to the change in pressure outside. It should pass as the day goes by. 8 hours and 4 Excedrin later, the pain has greatly intensified. I have made plans to go see the doctor later. The doctor asks me some questions and tells me if the pain intensifies that she recommends an MRI. I agree. In the meantime, she writes me out a prescription for Damoxenil. She explains that the medicine is fairly new and warns me of the side effects, including fatigue, increased appetite, lucid dreams, and in rare cases, auditory hallucinations, and in extreme cases, death. As soon as I get my subscription filled, I take one as directed. Within 5 minutes, the pain in my head has lessened greatly. Within 10, my headache is completely gone. I get ready for bed and power down my laptop. I can hear the bathroom sink dripping. I didn't notice it before, and I get up to turn it off. I drift off to sleep. I am awoken a few hours later by the sound of the bathroom sink dripping again. I turn it off and assume that the valve must have been loose. I won't fix it right now, so I can place a towel in the basin and muff a noise. I fall back to sleep when I hear a sound like someone letting out a sigh coming from the bathroom. Startled, my eyes pop open. In my bed I lay, listening. I hear water trickle onto the porcelain. I take a deep breath and make my way into the bathroom. I turn on the light and find the faucet completely shut off, and the towel still back in the basin. I touch it, it's barely wet. I chalk it up to the side effects of Damoxenil and head back to sleep. The next morning I wake up and take another pill as recommended. I notice that I don't have a headache, and I'm no longer hearing things. Still, I tell my doctor after work. The doctor says not to worry about hearing things. Still, I tell my doctor... Still, the doctor said not to worry much about the hallucinations. She said they weren't bad, but if they get worse, maybe I should cut back on the medication. That night, I unwind by reading the Amber Chronicles. I was well into the 5th chapter when I started hearing noises again. In the kitchen, I hear a clack, 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 as the sound of footsteps move across the floor. I push it out of my mind and continue to read. As I continue, I begin to hear a faint static coming from the direction. I heard footsteps. I put the book down and listen. Soon the static becomes whispers, and I'm able to distinguish 2 different voices, but I can't make out what they're saying. I again tell myself that it's the medication, but nonetheless I cautiously go back into the kitchen to check. I find nothing there. I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, and get ready for bed. As I'm there, out of the corner of my eye, I see something brown and lanky moving past the doorway. My head, it gets caught in my throat. I rationalize that it was due to the medication, but I soon realize that nothing was mentioned about visual hallucinations. Cold beads of sweat begin to drip to form on my body, and my hands begin to tremble. With trepidation, I peer head around the door frame, hoping that nothing will be there. My eyes peer into the darkness of the hallway, searching. I see it. Hulking at the end of the hallway, tall, brown, hunched over. Its presence menacing. I notice that it's turned the other way, and it can't see me. I continue to stare at it until I notice something strange about it. Something oddly familiar. I turn on the hallway light. I sigh in relief. It was just the coat rack. I decide to go to bed, but leave the hallway light on. I awake to find the next morning for going to take my medicine, and I decide to call into work. I have no headaches and don't experience any hallucinations. I spend the day lying in bed and listening to silence. It's been 7 days since I've stopped taking the medication, and everything is still normal. I had a sinus headache a few days ago, but that was it. It would now seem that I no longer need the medication. If this is the case, I can be done with these pills and not have to worry about any more side effects. I hold on to the pills for a couple more days, and if I'm still doing well, I'll flush them. My head is now killing me. It's worse than expected. I lie curled up in the fetal position. My bed is pitch in blackness. My hands cupping my head. I've thrown up 3 times already. I don't know if I should take the medication, but I've been like this for who knows how long, and I'm afraid the pain might kill me. I down the pill with a glass of water. It's hard to keep from throwing up again. Almost immediately the pain subsides and I can function promptly again. I call my doctor to set a scan at the local hospital. The scans come back normal, no spots or swelling, nothing to indicate what is causing the headaches. While I'm there, the attending physician asks if there's anything else he could do for me. He writes me out a script for Adamusol and sends me on my way. I contemplate throwing the Demoxenil away, but I change my mind in case the Adamusol doesn't work. 2 days in and everything is going much better than expected. Not only are my headaches gone, but I'm in an overall better mood. I'm almost more actively participating during meetings. 5th day now and things are getting weird again. Despite not taking any of the Demoxenil, I'm starting to experience auditory hallucinations. I can hear voices throughout the house. They sound like low hums of television conversations in the other room, intermingled with growls, but each dismissible. If I concentrate, I can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. That's how many of them are out there moving around, waiting. They can only move in the shadows. I don't even know if they're real. It wouldn't surprise me if the Adamusol caused the hallucinations. I called the doctor who prescribed me the Adamusol and asked him if it's known to cause any hallucinations. He says that it doesn't, but I wasn't fully satisfied with the doctor's answer. I visited forums trying to ascertain whether or not anyone else has experienced these types of hallucinations while on Adamusol. The most I got was that a few people got dizzy or nauseated. I call my doctor and tell her about the Adamusol I'm taking and the hallucinations I'm having. She tells me it might be that the Demoxenil is still in my system and that everything should clear up as time progresses. In the meantime, she suggests that I get all the blood work done to see if the drug is still in my system, and also to speak with a psychiatrist. After I hang up with her, I make an appointment to call the local clinical shrink. My lab work done, I go to see the shrink. We speak about the hallucinations I've been having. He gives me some exercises to do with when the hallucinations occur. He writes a prescription for clozapam and tells me that it's for people with schizophrenia, but that it should work in my situation. I don't like the idea of taking more pills, but if it'll stop the hallucinations, I'll try it. Despite taking the pills, I still hear things, seeing tall, brown, slender, hulking shapes, moving about the house out of my peripheral. I rationalize that the medicine needs to work to fully take effect. I just wish there was something that could be done about the sound of water dripping in the sink. I know the sounds I'm hearing aren't real, the footsteps, the voices, the water dripping in the sink. But if I were to apply any physical solution to a mental problem, it might eliminate some of the hallucinations I'm having. The first thing I do is turn off the water under the bathroom sink. The dripping stops. Now I must figure out a way to stop the footsteps. I tell the hallucinations to leave. Maybe they'll no longer bother me. It's unlikely. It's worth a shot. I can hear them in the living room, mixing low guttural noises and sloshing wet sounds. I step out into the hallway and peer into the darkness. I see 4 of the brown things hunched over in the living room, their backs scraping the ceiling, long, slender arms that come past their knees, and the sound of saliva dripping from their mouths. I tell myself that it's just the coat rack and reach over to turn on the light. As I do, so my phone vibrates in my pocket. Hello? Mark, this is Dr. Jacobs. I've recently received the results back from your lab work. There is no trace of damoxinil in your blood. I stand in horror looking at the things in my living room. What could be causing these things? So I'm going to cover 2 exact topics. That people have approached me or asked me about in the past, which is Valentine. Well, one of them was relationship advice, and the other was from a soul that I was intertwined with long ago. That if she is listening, I still do miss her. Why Valentine's Day sucks. So first I'll begin with the relationship advice, and I highly doubt that anyone should be taking a page out of my book at the moment, due to the fact that I made a mistake in mine. One that I wish, one that I wish I could go back and say I'm sorry, as I've procured many times before. But if anyone were to come and ask me before February 10th, 2020, I would say this. Of the things I've learned in my 4 years, is that women are sometimes unpredictable. Add to the fact that men are just as well unpredictable too. Those who are in a relationship may not see eye to eye on few things, but when the differences end and the similarities begin, it's a world of peaceful bliss and love. Which, for the beginning, for my 4 years, was quite enjoyable. It was almost refreshing to hear my phone go off every morning. Ding! I'd read, "Good morning, sweetheart. XOXO." I'd open my phone and I'd text back, "Good morning to you as well." Devil emoji, XOXO. Kissy emoji, kissy emoji. And then, during my high school years, I'd get on the bus. I'd be ever so happy to wait. He'd plop right down next to me. Give me a big hug. Give me a peck on the cheek. Back then, her long, brown, flowing hair, her beautiful green emerald eyes, and her bewitching, enchanted smile, covered in red lipstick, in almost some cases dark or light. She would ask how my evening was last night, and I would reply, it was good. But I would say there was something always missing. She'd go, what? I'd go, you. But sometimes, days we'd have arguments. They say no one is ever truly at fault, but in this instance I was. But I will say she also added to the argument as well. But again, I was the one that started this in the very beginning. And if I would have ever said I was sorry, my life would have been different as it was today. So I hope you're having fun, alternate reality Matthew. I hope you and alternate reality Agata are doing just fine. Being happy. While I become a depressed, skinny insomniac. Each day, my heart breaking and hurting. My life becoming more cynical than the last. She was my dark, dark angel. And I, Mr. J, criminally brilliant, but a tad bit insane. She was my Harley Quinzel. A tad deranged, but with a bit of beauty only I could see. Her darkness was her most prominent feature. Her appreciation of life and death and the stupidity of people always made my heart flutter. She was adventurous. She was brave. But now I have to learn to keep going. In the beginning, I couldn't sleep. She was constantly on my mind. Just waiting to hear from her. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I passed out Nearly hit my head on the dining room table. Thank God I missed by a few inches. Some people from my past, and even those of my future, may see a smiling, hopeful teenage male. But that's only a facade. It's only to keep normalcy in my life. What they see is a struggling human being trying to cope with so much loss in his life. From seeing his mother's lifeless eyes, no more than a few inches from his own. Her choking out her last breath. Walking in to see his great-grandfather, silent, laying right in front, peaceful, without ever saying goodbye. And to finally see the woman that he had loved say goodbye because he never said he was sorry. It drives a person insane how someone through all that traumatic life experience could go on. Well, I've somehow found a way to keep going. Come this May, it will have been 19 years since my birth, and 15, 16, 17, 18. It'll have been 4 years since my mother is gone. And this May it will have been about 3 months. They say that there are plenty of fish in the sea. But the fish that I caught swam away and never came back. So I fill my life with useless possessions, rambling on and on about creepy pastas and how people need to stay the fuck home. Stop buying stupid shit. Fucking morons. People need to wake up, and they need to realize that we are done for as a human race and a society if we don't get our heads out of our asses and knock off the political bullshit. I feel sorry for the Trump supporters, and for the non-Trump supporters, and the anti-vaxxers, and the religious fanatics, and those who wish to see everyone from India to Pakistan blown within a 5-mile radius, to those who hate others that are not themselves, to those who hate the Americans and vice versa, to those who hate the Germans, the Spain, and the French. I feel bad for them. I pity them. Because in the end, all that hatred, that evil, what will it get you? Fame? Recognition? No. Because in a few millennia or so, this world will come to dust. And any memory or any argument you have has just become pointless. Wasted breath. If you are listening to this, she who shall not be named, I wish to say that I am sorry for the 4 years of pain and misery that I gave to you. And that I know, as I speak right now, nothing would ever get you back. Keep this in mind. Even though we are not together, I would still die for you. Take a hit for you. Save you. And if there ever came a moment where you were on your, or if you ever came into a situation where you were in dire need of life, let's say a heart, or blood, or an organ, but more, let's focus on my heart. If you needed a heart, I'd be more than happy to rip the broken, shattered one that remains in my body and put whatever is left of it that hasn't been destroyed by grief and depression and energy drinks, among other things, to you. I'm sorry for the pain that I've caused and the argument that we had that destroyed this relationship. I was an asshole, and I know nothing will come back. So to those who wish for a piece of advice, if you are in a relationship right now, love, respect, and honesty go a long way. And to those of you who aren't, you will find yours soon. And if not, at least know that you are not alone, just like I am not alone. You who are single are a part of a vastly huge group on this planet. An additional piece of advice for the single: live life to the fullest. Achieve your dreams. Make them possible. And do whatever it takes to achieve them. Make them your reality. And crush and destroy anyone who gets in your way. Oh, and to say why Valentine's Day sucks, well, yeah, that's just a bunch of bullshit by the card companies. Let's see. I did my rants. I did a creepypasta for the day. Let's see if anyone on Instagram. Let's see if anyone on Instagram Live. There we go. Mm-hmm. How long have I been talking for? Ooh. Let's see. Oh, I've been on for about 2 hours? Good lord. Oh. I guess time flies when you're having fun. Oh, that felt good. That felt good. Nope, no questions. Well, alright, let's see. I've been live on Instagram for 56 minutes. How long has it been? Oh, I've only been on live for an hour. Well, for my Instagram viewers, I must be saying Wiedersehen, because I have got to check something. But for my YouTube Live viewers, don't go away. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's see. What to do and what to do. Folks, I will be right back in a jiffy. I'll be right back. let's see, microphone 3. All right, and then audio output capture.
You should have had this all set up.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, now I know what I have to do. Okay. So I have to add it into the thing, but when I do, it'll be switching over to the live stream, okay? So I'll introduce. Just wait for me to.
Go ahead.
Or you know what? Just wait for me to introduce you, and that's when you know everything is ready. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
Okay, folks. So we have 2 special guests, or 1 special guest, however many you want to count, with us right now. Please say hello to the Southern Lady and the Naval Signalman.
Good evening.
How are you folks doing tonight?
Oh, we're doing just peachy.
Well, that's good.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. So, what's new in the world?
Oh, nothing much. Coronavirus this, COVID-19 that, end of the world crisis. You know how it goes.
Yes. Yes, I do. Locked down, shut in, can't go anywhere, can't do anything. You know how that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we could take a walk. We did take a walk.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, got out and got a little bit of fresh air, and now Grandpa's laying here watching a classic Blackhawks game.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So what's new with you?
Not much. Just same same old, making videos, gonna do some gaming videos pretty soon, and some food reviews. I'm gonna review Wendy's Junior Burger, and I'm gonna review Monsters Incorporated.
Wow, expanding your horizons here, huh?
Yeah, guess what? So I actually ordered some new Lego Dimension kits in the mail. They finally came today.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah,
so?
I heard on the news that what was it? I heard on the news that this one nurse was talking about they were like running out of PCE and
no PPE.
Oh, what is that?
That's supplies.
Oh.
That's like the gowns and the masks and the.
And they gave her a rain poncho.
Yes. Oh, I saw a real interesting one on Facebook where all of the workers in this one area were putting garbage bags on because they had totally run out of gowns.
Garbage bags?
Garbage bags. Isn't that something?
You gotta be kidding me.
Yep. The great big black, like lawn bags. They were making use out of them. I don't know how safe they were, but anyway.
Yeah.
So
honestly, it's just become ridiculous to a point where I see people coming in and out, and I've been live for almost about an hour, almost about an hour. And in the beginning, I was discussing how we need to come together as a community and more or less as a species that people need to stop coming out and buying things that aren't a necessity, like
Right.
lawn
Right.
furniture, patio furniture, and things of that nature.
Exactly. No, that's ridiculous. I mean, they're telling you to stay in. Why would you go just to like Costco and buy lawn furniture when you're being told to stay in? You know, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, a lot of things from time to time. People have a funny way of thinking what is essential and what not is essential.
Exactly.
Do,
Exactly.
do you think that people will get over this as time goes by, or
It's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long time to get back to where we were kind of there. You know, it's just, I think people are going to be afraid for a long time. I don't think people are going to be shaking hands and hugging and, you know, doing as we did before. I think they're going to be cautious because the World Health Organization has already told us that it's going to take a long time for this to, you know, get over. Grandpa says he doesn't think we'll ever be able to eradicate it. So
what do you have
we'll
to
see.
to those?
But
What would you have to say to those who are either listening now or maybe a couple days from now? What would you have to say to those to people as far as like your advice and your expertise? What would you say to them?
well, I'm not an expert on it, but my advice, I think we should obey the rules where the governors are saying stay in, you know, don't go unnecessarily running around. Go to the grocery store and get your essentials and get home. Don't linger. Don't go to places like Walmart and Target and socialize in the store. And they're congregating, which is a big no-no. Mm-hmm. Oh, right. Did you happen to hear that?
No, Grandpa sounds a little. You guys don't mind
He
if
is.
you guys don't mind.
What?
I don't know, like you know we're live, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, anyway, I'll tell you what he said. There were 17 people sitting on curbside someplace in California, and they were visitors. And I don't know where they were visiting from, but because they were all out socializing and having a good time, the police came along and fined each one of them $1,000.
It's
So if you're that silly, ignorant, to not pay attention to what you're being told in a health crisis like this, then you're going to pay the consequences.
just like those idiots who went on spring break.
Exactly. What was that? That was about 1,000 of them, wasn't it? Or more. So.
How do you
Yes.
how do you feel about recent things coming out of Springfield, some places like Springfield and Vermont, where they're actually cordoning off places and stores such as Costco and Walmart where people can't buy the things that they used to, like clothing and books and arts and crafts.
I think it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful. It's structuring everything for people, and I think right now people kind of need that to let them know where to go and what to get, and don't linger.
Do
So,
you think that this should be done everywhere or only in places where it's a high amount of cases?
I'm not sure. Like New York, I know they're doing it in a lot of areas, but they're also telling people, stay off the streets. That's a definite hot spot. California blocked off a bunch of roads. Um, we're humans. We have to be taught how to do things, and we've never, in our generation right now, we have not ever experienced anything like this. So we have to be shown how to do things. And it sometimes, like the old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And it's sometimes really hard for people to understand what we should be doing, what the government is telling us to do. But I'm sure we'll make it through this. I'm sure we'll be fine in the end, and we'll just have to take it day by day.
And that's a good way to put it. Do you how do you
But
feel about the way our government is handling this? Now, before I let you go into that, I do wish to say at this moment that our president slash commander in chief has flip flopped from time to time over the course of the past few weeks, saying things. In the beginning, he said that this is a great catastrophe. Then he said that we'll have people back in churches and congregating by today. Obviously,
hmm
and then going back and forth to saying it's now a great catastrophe. Now, as of today, which is when our president said that we'd all be back and congregating, you now have parking in the people parking in church parking lots, and then officers fining and ticketing them.
hmm
Do you think our government should stop for the moment and take a step back, and even though this is an ongoing situation, they should at least look at what is going on in the moment?
Well, yes, I think they should definitely act on what is going on in the moment. But if people are congregating in a church parking lot and not going in the building, that's one thing. But if they're going in the building and being defiant, then yes, I think they should pay the consequences, and in which a lot of people are paying the consequences because they're all getting sick. So, which takes us back to square one, where it is, if you would have paid attention and abided by the rules to begin with, we wouldn't have the sickness still going on. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. There was a church in Texas today that had services, and everybody was inside the church celebrating Easter. And
Really?
I guarantee, oh yes, and I guarantee you there will be sickness out of that because people can't do what they're asked to do. They're not going to let anybody come in and tell them what to do, and especially the government, because now you have the church and state, and it has really nothing to do with church and state, but those people in that church apparently think that it does. So I just think that the way things are being handled right now, if they would let some more of the health people, the medical people come on and kind of talk and tell us what's going on, in layman's terms and not get us all riled up, I think it would be a whole lot better than the president getting on there and saying, well, I think we're going to set this date where we're going to let everybody go back to work, or this date where we're going to let everybody go back to school. If he would just let the medical people tell us what is going on. He's not a doctor. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's not a doctor, and I don't think he should be up there telling us all that we need to know about what's going on with this virus. You know, he can advise us on other things. He can get up there and talk about Wall Street. He could get up there and talk about, you know, what's going on overseas, or, you know, something like that, but not medicine. I think we need to hear from the medical people. But I'm sure that's never going to happen, right?
Probably not.
He's always going to talk. He's always going to put his 2 cents in there. So I don't know. I hope I answered your question.
Hey, thank you very much for coming on.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. Yes.
How, if at all, did you guys celebrate Easter today?
We had lasagna and a nice salad, and you know, just kind of took it easy. Grandpa got out there and cut the lawn, and we took a walk, talked to some neighbors, and yeah, we were doing all right. We missed our family. We missed our grandkids, but you know, in this time, we'll make up for it, I'm sure.
Hopefully so, and I would like to think that your grandkids miss you very much as well.
Ah, yes. I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been too long already, so you know, we'll make up for it.
And just it's been lovely talking to you. I'd like to know if we could ask your husband if he has anything to share with us at the moment.
Sure. Hold on one second. Grandpa. Yeah.
Who is it? Hello?
Hello.
What's up?
Not much. You are technically live right now, and one person is watching.
Okay.
I heard
what?
Amma recreated some of what you said, but what do you have to personally say on this matter, as far as everything going on? As far as everything going on in the world?
Well, I think 90% of it is too many people are listening to news media. The news media anymore, instead of, let me put it in this perspective. I'm watching 2010 Philadelphia Flyers versus the Blackhawks, and they're in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And they won the Stanley Cup that year. But just because they won it, I still enjoy watching them because this is the old team. They're tough, they're aggressive, and they do a good job playing hockey. And they bring something good to television and Chicago, and I enjoy sitting here watching it. Now, you turn the news on, and it's always something bad. And what they should be doing is instead of focusing on all the horrible things like people dying, people sick, Trump ain't doing this and Trump should be doing that, instead of finding what is good in this situation. Let's take, for instance, I'll tell you what Amma found out today. She was apparently it was on the internet on her smartphone because of the lack of activity on Lake Michigan. There's no boating. Apparently, all the only boating is the barges or the big ships that's coming in. Maybe nobody's out bothering. Nobody's messing up. Nobody's doing nothing. Amma said that you can see the shipwrecks on the bottom of Lake Michigan. The water is so clear. So, to me, that was rather enlightening. In all this devastation and terrible things that the news media says is happening all over the world, because we learned somewhat of a lesson to stay at home. Lake Michigan is absolutely gorgeous. So I don't pay a lot of attention to what's going on. We still, even though we're committed to stay home for the most part, we still carry on normal lives. Again, it's all about everybody's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The news media, it keeps going. So that's my personal observation, and I think if more people look on the positive side, maybe things would be better. Other than that, that's about it.
I hope so too, and I hope that whether it be a few months from now or even, and I hate to say this, but probably into the next year, that this will be done and over with, and we can go back.
I don't know. It may be longer than that. This one medical official said today we could have this throughout our lives. We don't know that. Just like, okay, let's take for instance the flu. The flu comes and goes every year, and it kills a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if I was to lay around here and think about the 60,000 people that died in 2017 and 18, I'd probably have a miserable life. I can't think about that. I got to look at the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And that's the way I look at life. I got 5 grandchildren who's always been there for the most part here recently, not so much recently because of what's been going on, but I got 5 wonderful, healthy grandkids. I got a wonderful son, and I look forward to all the good things in life that's not only that I look forward to, but what we've been blessed with. So I'll give you another, for instance. I don't care what people land up. Let's take, for instance, lottery. Somebody somewhere wins $100 million in the lottery. And when they finally file to get their money, they find out they have to pay the government 33% of that money. And I'll guarantee you there'll be somebody to complain that even though they had $300 million, that they have to give so many $1 million to the government for taxes. So it doesn't matter. It's basic that people, instead of counting their blessings, as they say, they always have something to complain about. Yeah. And especially here in America.
But no, like I was saying, if this, when this is all said and done, whether it be a few months from now or even a few years from now, and if this is still within our lifetime, I at least hope that things calm down enough to where we can get back to at least some level of normality. As of now, we're probably not going to see that until things return to normal, which means the stores will open again and people can go back to regular shopping. That probably will not happen for a few months at least. But for the
maybe even longer. There's going to be businesses that are going to be permanently closed. There was a crawler on CNN last week, I noticed, it said that some oil companies will go out of business.
And all of this because of one person in China was messing around with a bat. Can you believe it?
Well, we don't. No. See, I don't know where you got your information from, but we don't know that. We don't know that. And in fact, the so-called professionals really don't know, how this all started or what the conditions were. And I think they got it nailed down that it was in China. They say, though, that, well, I haven't heard this on the news or whatever, but one of the guys I was talking to the other day, he said that China's upset with Trump because of the tariffs he put on that country, and they want to destroy the United States economy. And I could see that,
So could a lot of
but
others.
then that's a so-called conspiracy theory. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Well, I wish to thank you both for coming on the show and joining me and providing more and giving more of a human touch to what's going on right now, to see into the other side of people's lives and how this is affecting them.
Well, thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. I heard a while ago from the missus that your program's coming on pretty soon.
Yeah, I kind of turned it off for a reason, went back to the Blackhawks. Anyway. So I guess that draws us to a conclusion then till the next time.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you very much. You two have a blissful evening and a happy rest of your Easter.
Thank you. You too.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Country Girl and Navy Signalman. You'll probably be hearing this and listening to this again as I produce a video on highlights, which will bump everything up by a few days. But in the meantime, I guess right now everybody's busy, or why not? If anyone listening would like to add their own 2 cents, the comment bar is always open. If you wish to join me on a live stream, I have Skype, Xbox, the Xbox app on my computer, and Google Hangouts. Don't hesitate to contact me, and thank you all for listening. Wish you all a wonderful evening and a blessed Easter. Thank you.